Littke.
And what is it that she has? An international booking agency?
Yeah, she's from Germany. She books tours in Europe and helps people find record dates, things like that. And she's from, I think I said she's from West Germany, and she's been here in the country about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I met her up at the jazz convention up there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about you and your playing. How long have you been playing trumpet, Jack?
Well, I started in 1955 when I was about 9 years old, and I just have done it ever since. You know, I had parents that wouldn't let me stop at one time, and I'm glad they didn't, because I wouldn't do anything else right now.
Were your parents musicians also?
No, my mother was a little bit in high school. She played in an orchestra, violin, but that's about as far as their music.
Right, but they were quite encouraging, though.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any other members of the family, brothers, sisters, or anything playing music?
No, I'm the only child.
Okay. Is the trumpet the only thing that you play?
It's the only thing I would consider myself playing professionally. I fiddle around with the piano, but only for composing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that seems to be the instrument to do that with.
Right.
What have you been doing lately?
Well, been trying to, right now I'm writing liner notes for a record that we've been trying to get out. It'll be on an Italian label, Red Records. And I played a few days in the West in January, and I'm supposed to have a couple things coming up here in New York.
You come upstate at all?
I would like to. I guess there's negotiations for things in Rochester around in that area.
Well, that's good. We always like to have some good talent come up here. Of course, we've got quite a few ourselves also.
Yeah.
On the people that you have been playing with, have you been putting your own groups together, or have you played with anybody in particular before you started your own group?
Well, I assume you knew that I played with Mingus for a long time, and I played with Ray Charles as far as working with other people, and the people that were on my records, like the piano player Mike Cochran and drummer Mike Clark, we've been playing together for years and years, and Anthony Cox, bass player, we played together quite a bit in the last 2 or 3 years, and right now I've been sort of reforming, and I've lately been playing with Anthony Cox still, and a drummer named Victor Jones, and a piano player named Mulgrew Miller, who you might know from Woody Shaw.
Are you experimenting in any way with different types of playing, or are you happy with the progress that you're making now on the direction that you're going?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I see possibilities. I am more or less experimenting with different ways of playing on chord changes and different structuring of tunes, like in my composition, like a lot of North African influence, like music I heard in North Africa, and different music I hear around me all the time. I've been trying to open up my concept and to get away from the traditional play head, take a solo, play a head out, but have actual compositions, with different sections and different people featured in different spots within a small group. You see, that's the concept is usually in a big band, but I'm trying to achieve that in a small group also.
Right, okay, that's what I asked. I wanted to get this out here because we always have aspiring young musicians out there. How much practice do you do each day?
Well, when I don't work, I play maybe 3 or 4 hours. I just go through a lot of my tunes and a few exercises. Mostly I practice music. When I play, I do a few very basic exercises, and the rest of the time I try to play music and just extend my technique and the ranges of my horn by experimentation, I guess you would say.
Now, would you have any helpful hints that you could pass along to some of the youngsters?
I think that the best thing you can do is just learn as much as you can about everything, and so you don't limit yourself in one particular area.
Unfortunately, we don't have the jam sessions around here so that they can jump into and get some of the information firsthand. but some of the people have mentioned that if anybody is really that serious about it, they should go to places where they do have all the performers and try to get as much information as they can.
Yeah.
Did you have any formal training in any of the musical schools?
I went to Berkeley in Boston. I was there I went to chorus. I was there for 4 years for composition, and I graduated in 1968.
Well, that's formal enough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let me get back in. I have this particular one album in front of me. It's the one in Europe. Well, I shouldn't say is this one of your better ones. What would you consider your best album?
Well, that's a very hard question to answer. There's some things I like on some albums better than other things, but of the 4 I have out so far, they're so different, it's hard for me to say, you know? Like one was with a quintet with a guitar and trumpet, which I was experimenting with a new ensemble type of sound. And then I have a trio, and like the Live Europe record, and another quintet with that same group. And I like them for different things. I like the European thing for like the recording quality for one thing, and it's also more of a thing where people are stretching out. And the other albums, the other ones are studio albums. But I like those on the other hand for that reason of more kind of arrangements and whatever.
Okay, what I want to do is get something connected with this particular album. This is AM 95 WIBX, Utica, Rome, New York. I'm Harvey Lisker, speaking live right now with Jack Walrath from New York City. Jack, on a couple of these numbers here, Dusen in Dusseldorf.
Yeah.
Anything in particular strange about that?
It was just something that came back to me when I wrote the tune. I was in Dusseldorf and staying at a friend's house, and I was writing it on their piano, and I had thought of something a guy said when I worked with Ray Charles when I first went to Europe when we didn't have any hotel rooms. He said, "Here we are at Dusen in Dusseldorf." So that title just sort of came out of the past, and it's a blues which kind of would go along with paying dues, I guess you would say.
These are the kind of things that I like to pull out of people, because when you just pick up an album and you see the name on there, you know there's something behind it. And what I try to do is to get as much information as I can. Now, how about at home in Rome? Now, obviously, you felt at ease there.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's another, some friends I met in Rome when I was playing with Mingus a few years ago. And when I got back to the United States, I just wrote this tune and that title came out of it. A lot of times the titles really don't have anything to do with the tunes, other than just sort of cataloging them. But the titles do mean something in one respect, but not necessarily anything to do with the tune.
There's a lot of personality that goes into it, and it usually comes out in many of the titles. Now, what can you tell us about Mingus?
Well, I think he was one of the greatest geniuses of music, of any kind of music, and I was very fortunate to work with him. And I think was considered one of his best bands, the one with George Adams and Don Pullen. And that's sort of about sums that up about my feelings. I just was really fortunate to work with one of the originators of modern music.
Now, how long were you with him, and how did you get involved with him in the first place?
Well, I worked with him for about 4 years, and Danny Richmond kept the band going for about another 3 years after that. And I got involved with him when through Paul Jeffrey, who used to write some of his music out for him and was a tenor saxophone player with Thelonious Monk. And Paul had a band, and I just told Paul that I would like to play with Mingus someday. And so when Mingus was playing at the Village Gate one night, he called me up and I went and sat in with him, and he hired me. And they just had a quartet, and George Adams was the only horn.
Okay, and you stayed for how long?
About 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years.
Okay, that's very interesting. Now, how long were you with Ray Charles?
I played with him for about a year, which the tour was about a year long. I guess 9 months to a year, solid touring with him. That was much more touring than with Mingus. Mingus would tour maybe 6 or 7 months out of the year, and Ray Charles would tour 9 or 10.
Have you been overseas in the festivals as of lately?
Yes, last year we played in Carlsberg, Norway, and Umbria Jazz in Perugia, Italy, and some places in France. I don't remember all of them. I can't pronounce them either.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to pass along with your particular music, Jack?
Well, it's just that I hope that it gets like I know you're doing what you can and everything, and I just hope that it can get a lot of exposure, because I think that there's a lot of I try to achieve for variety and some kind of freshness that I hope that will carry over and just make people see that there's enough.
Jack, I want to thank you for calling in.
Okay.
And feel like you're a member of the family, and let's hear from you and keep in touch with us.
Oh, thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
Thanks again for calling.